Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, starting with the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Beneficent. I hope you are all fine and must be with me in this a little bit study of the health system and the health policies and the health system and the policy applications in this country. In my previous lecture, we were actually looking for the different definitions of health policy, and we've seen the different spectrums, and finally the areas covered by the health policy. Then certainly I have to stop my talk, and today's talk, this is health policy number 2. Title is continuity with the health policy number 1. So the health policy, the spectrum of the areas covered by the health policy. So the health policy may cover topics of financing and delivery of health care, access to care, quality of care, and health equity. So all those areas are where we are interested for the what I can say, the efficacy, the quality of health policy, and secondly, the health policy, as I have told you in my previous talk, that the health policy is not related only with the health. It is also related with the nutrition. It's also related with the sewage and disposal of waste. It's also related with the environment. It is also related with the pollution. So all those things are very, very much important as far as health policy is concerned. Most of the time people think that perhaps it's a treatment of the disease and that's all. Health policy is first related with the health of the people. Then if there is anything, then is the treatment of the disease. So I repeat, the spectrum of the areas covered by the health policy. Yesterday, in my previous talk, we have already talked. So health policy may cover the topics of financing and delivery of health care, access to the care, and quality of care, and health equity. We have discussed all those things one by one already. Previously we have discussed. And then the objectives of the national health policy, it is to achieve an acceptable standard of improved health, and then is the increased access to the public health system, increased access of the people to the public health system. Then is to ensure equitable access to the health care. Everyone should have the healthcare at their doorstep, and everyone, rich, poor, Muslim, non-Muslim, if somebody is resident of that area, he or she should be able to get that facility. And then create new health infrastructure in the areas deficient, where health system is not available, health facility is not available. In those areas we have to create the infrastructure, and of course we have to upgrade the existing health infrastructure so that the facility should be available to many. We have to promote the public-private partnership. I've already told you that the private people should be encouraged to join hands with the government, with the public sector, so that the health facility can be there. Suggest ways to increase investment in the health, and there should be a promotion, and there should be a promotion, and there should be a way so that the people like to invest in health sector in two ways. One is that they believe that they will get their money worth back, and secondly, it is a job for their nation, for their people. And then to promote the stewardship in the health for effective monitoring and evaluation of the current policies. So the leadership should be there by the health people. That is where the health managers are required, the postgraduates in health, public health are required, and that is where we have a definite role to develop and to produce in ourselves, of course, the leadership for the monitoring and evaluation of the current policies, of the suggestions for improvement, the suggestions for modification of the policies, and of course the suggestions for implementation of the policies. Then we were looking for the problem solving and the policy cycle from the dictionary and from the knowledge from the journals and from the net. That is what actually Hewlett and Ramesh said, and how they look into the policies. They have divided the policy into different stages. So the stages in the health policy, basic idea behind by discussing this is that We want you people to be very, very much well versed with the health policy system, health policy designing, health policy implementation, and the areas covered by the health policy. And then is the stages how we have to implement the health policy. So the first stage in agenda is agenda setting. First, by Howlett and Ramesh, what they said is that the first is agenda setting. For instance, an issue becomes significant and hence draws the attention of the policymakers, so that sometimes the issue of as is nowadays is for the whole of the globe is COVID-19, or is the local problem of the community, maybe some sewerage system, maybe some pure water supply issue, maybe some other disposal of waste issue, maybe some nutrition issue, maybe some area is lacking in iodine, so or maybe some area is having people deficient in iron. They have iron deficiency anemia, the food is not qualitative, the food has been stored and then it's supplied to the people. The stored food may not have that quality, the storage of the wheat may not be qualitative. So all those things, they draw the attention, or they should draw the attention of the policymakers. And who is the policymaker? We are the policymakers. We have to first of all identify the problem, and then we have to give the solution to that problem. So one way could be by doing needs assessment, and then health needs are often measured using the following. First, how we realize self-report, health status indicators, biomedical measures, that is the health status. First we have to create a report from an individual, then we have to see the physical signs and symptoms, then we have to go for the biochemical test, vitamin D deficiency, vitamin C deficiency, vitamin K deficiency, iron deficiency, whatever is the biochemical test, and then is the geographical variations. We cannot implement everything everywhere. Iodine deficiency may be only in a single part of the world, maybe in a single part of the country, maybe single part of the province. We cannot implement whole of the whole of the province, any policy to the whole of the province. We have to see that how much help or how much interference is required. So interestingly, we see some topics getting more political support, while arguably some other important ones may remain unattended. That is another havoc with the policy making, that the policy has to be passed through the Parliament. First, of course, ECNIC, NEC, all those agencies related with the Planning Commission, first of all, they pass the policies, but finally the policy has to be passed through the Parliament. And sometimes the Parliament, as politicians sitting in the Parliament, they have to see their own benefits, their own requirement. So sometimes the important ones, important aspects may not be covered that much, and unimportant because of the political needs, because of the desire of the politician, the desire of the people living in their area, the voters, they demand such type of things, or some influential person demand that thing, that sort of facility in that area. Maybe some water supply system is to be there, or maybe some sewerage is there, and that may not be recommended for an area where a lot of number of people are living, and may be recommended for an area where even a limited number of people are living, because the people who has got influence, they get it recommended. The politically strong people are living in that area. So that is very much important. So when we are in the process of making a policy, or in the process of directing or pointing out the need of the society, we have to be very, very much careful that we should not be influenced by any political people, or we should not be influenced by any influential demands, but we have to see the requirement of the people. That is how the policy can be successful. Then is the second stage in the policy cycle is about the policy formulation. How we have to design this policy, what are the guidelines we have to make, and regarding, of course, that issue here for the what I can say, the various stakeholders, for instance, the healthcare teams, the hospitals, the governments are involved in formulating the policy, which means a proposed solution is designed, which means a proposed solution is designed. So many people, now you can see my previous talk that I said that the end user, the stakeholders should be involved, and now I am telling you in the Hewlett and Ramesh scheme of policy that the various stakeholders, for instance, the healthcare team, the hospital, the governments, the leaders of that area, the Imam Masjid of that area, all should be involved when we are formulating a policy or when we are designing a policy, which means a proposed solution is designed. The next is decision making. Obviously, now we have to decide whether we are going for it. First, we have collected the data, we have analyzed, we have the opinion of the people, we have the suggestion of the people. Now is the decision making. In this stage, a solution is chosen. Various stakeholders decide how to approach an issue and how we can implement this. And fourth stage is the policy implementation. Now we are in a position, once we have completed the data, we have the ideas, we have now prepared the guidelines, we have prepared the policy, keeping in mind the requirement and the recommendation of the stakeholders or the end users, and now we are in a position to implement this policy. So implementation, here the chosen solution is put into the effect. This is a rather difficult stage. It involves changing habits, and that can be challenging thing to do. Then comes the policy evaluation. After every policy is developed, it needs to be monitored and evaluated for its impact to determine whether the policy formulated was a success or not, and that is how we realize that we went for a workable policy, we went for a right policy, or whatever we did was just wrong and did not work for our people. For a policy change to be successful, it should not only be evidence-based but also needs a persuasive argument, persistence, and patience. Sometimes even budget may not be a problem, but rather the fact that the policy being implemented is acceptable to all or not. Sometimes budgeting is there, the people are there. One is that the people who have to implement this policy, who have to follow, who have to see the results, they are not happy, and other is the end user, that is the people on which this policy is to be implemented. They do not recommend, they do not help, they do not accept this policy. So that is where the problem is. And sometimes the very much best implemented, best designed policies fail because the proper convincing was not there, proper implementation was not there, proper acceptance of the people did not accept it, and it turned a failure. Obviously, generally the 6 terms used by public health advocates to promote change are: change is always difficult to bring in, but the health change, that is again a serious issue. People going to the Hakims, to the homeopaths, to the faith healers, now they are directed to straight away go to the allopathic doctor, they are directed to go to the dispensary, to the basic health centers. Sometimes you need to work on this for the people to accept this change. So generally the 6 terms used by public health advocates to promote the change are: 1. Need. There should be a need in that area, in that community. 2. Access. Whatever we are saying, it should be accessible for the people. Wherever we establish a center, wherever we develop a center, the center should not be on the other side of the river, because the land is provided by somebody who wants to develop his own lands. And that is exactly what happened in many basic health centers of our rural health centers of the province of the Punjab. Because the policy was that you have to develop, you have to create, you have to construct, you have to build a BHU or a RSC whenever some landlord provides you the land. Now what happened? The landlord provided the land on the far end, on the other side of the river, on the far end of the Union Council, rather than in the region where the people were living, where there were houses, there were community, there were and the center, the facility reached out of the access of the people, and suddenly resulted in a failure. And the failure was only because the BHU, the RICs, wherever they are existent, the road goes there, the transformer is there, the electricity is there. So people wanted to establish their own lands rather than they wanted to help their people. So and the policy could not be, the policy allowed them, and the centers were created on the other side of the road. So it was out of the access of the people, out of the reach of the people, and could not be, unfortunately, could not be a success and could not be a real help to the people. Then in the utilization, obviously the facility provided should be utilized. Then the equality should be there. Then is the equity should be there. First is the quality, and then the service to all. Then is the disparities. There should be no disparities, no religious issue, no community issue, no rich or poor issue, no, what I can say, the language issue. Only issue is the health problem, and we have to solve. What happens is sometimes some community, some lady health workers, some dispensers, some LHB, they are working in those areas. They promote certain limited people, and they have access to those people. They have their family relations, or even they are in their family. So the result is a failure. So that should not be there. So I repeat, all those 6 things should be considered before we go for a policy, or before we go for a plan. And plan is to establish a new center, whatever it is, to provide a health care facility, whatever, to healthcare service, or some other vertical program, whatever it is. So the need 1, access to utilization 3, equality 4, equity 5, and disparity 6. Lashari, obviously, 2004 has written that in his own article printed in our journal, that historically speaking, in Pakistan, the process of policy making has relied on an informal approach. The approach is not formal. The approach has not followed those 6 things. The approach is historically always an informal approach. And what that informal approach is, through this approach, officials in the decision-making chain of command decide about the health priorities. No formal policy making methods are employed. Only they sit in their air-conditioned offices, they sit in Lahore, and they plan about the health problems in Rajanpur. What happens when there is rain, what happens when there is flood, and they decide in their offices in Lahore, and that's exactly what happened. The policy making has not been on the proper lines. Only the health policy making has been in the without the priorities, only their own feeling and their own realization, which may not be true all the time. Then what is the need to do health policy analysis? Why we need to analyze our health policies? Why we need to realize why we want to discuss that every health policy was a failure? No health policy could complete their 5-year plan, and unfortunately the health policies all suffered different financial losses, and most of the time, or many times I must say, if not most of the time, then many times it could not be a help to the living people of the area. Walt et al. 2008 described health policy analysis as a multidisciplinary approach to public policy that aims to explain the interaction between institutions, interests, and ideas in the policy process. Parsons 2005 also emphasized that the policy analysis is a multidisciplinary approach. Bossers developed an approach to analyze options for decentralization of health sector. That analysis told us that the central approach to for the success of health policy is not workable. There should be a decentralized approach, and that can only come when many stakeholders are involved. It has been argued by experts that the health policy environments in the middle and high income countries, where for instance there are weaker regulations, regulatory capacity and monitoring systems, lack of purchasing power as a leverage to influences types, and quality of services delivered, more patronage in the political systems, and more reliance on external donor funds, that again causes a problem for the policy success. Then is the Views et al. 2005 discusses a shift in the nature of policy and policy making, which points to the involvement of a much larger array of factors and the policy process. That is what I've been repeatedly telling you. When many stakeholders are involved, many people are involved, such policy can be there can be a policy success. The private sector, for instance, including for-profit and for-not-profit, as NGOs are there, non-government organizations are there, for not-for-profit organizations are there, big and small, has become an important player in the policy making. Public-private partnership have also changed the health policy environment. Furthermore, the policy is increasingly shaped and influenced by the factors such as global civil society, kick and sink stalled in 1998. Standard 8 steps by Bardach policy framework. What those 8 steps are: define the problem first. I have already discussed those things, only for your remembrance and only for your recollection. First is that define the problem, assemble some evidence, construct the alternatives, select the criterion, design the project outcomes, confront the trade-offs, decide, tell your story, and then implement. That is where we are. We have to follow all those 8 steps, and if we are in a process for the policy making. That's all for today. For this time, we continue with the policy making in the next session as well. Thank you very much. Stay blessed. Goodbye.